Hi everyone. Thank you for inviting us at the WAM summit. And I'm Ronak Sanghadia, VFX supervisor from Red Chillies VFX. And today we are going to present to you the making of Shershaah, the VFX that has gone into this amazing film. Let me share my screen and then we can talk further on it. Yeah. So yeah, as Poonam already introduced the film to us,
Hi,
Shershaah.
Ronak, sorry to interrupt you, but your screen is all gray. Like, a-
Oh, okay. Please hold on. Yeah. Can you see it now?
no, it's still the same.
No.
Yeah.
You can.
But I would say, I think because you're moving your cursor, it's interrupting. Like the gray area is still coming.
Mhm. Okay. Should I share it again? Then hold on. Can you now see it?
Yes, we can see. But there is a gray block right at the right corner.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not have anything blocking the view as such.
Now it's completely gray and it's coming back and forth.
Probably you can try using some other application to open it.
Okay.
Or if you can share the video, if it's there available somewhere, I can play it from my end.
So I think I can share the screen if it is fine. I think that will be okay. Let me try that.
Yeah, this is fine. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
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 Great. Then. Okay. Let's go. Okay, so Shershaah is is the film and story of Captain Vikram Batra, and as rightly introduced by Poonam. But let's talk a little more about the film. I hope everyone must have heard the good news that a couple of days back, Shershaah is the film who has won the Best Film Award in the prestigious Dada Saheb Phalke Award. As a best film in the best film category. So yeah, congratulations to the entire crew, cast and crew, and everyone who was a part to make this film happen. And it's a very beautiful film. I'll just play back a little intro video, and before that, let me just introduce Red Chillies VFX to everyone. So everyone knows about Red Chillies. However, we are a state of the art facility and we are located in Goregaon. And we are, it's Red Chillies VFX as well as Red Chillies Color. So we have a VFX facility as well as we have a very state of the art digital grading theater and digital grading setup at our end, and which is definitely helmed by our amazing bosses and the CCO, Mr. Harry Rangorani, and the CEO, Mr. Ketan Yadav. And going forward, let me just play this clip, which is just an introduction to the film, and then we'll talk more about the film and its VFX. Yes, Shershaah, we've undertaken this project, and the VFX supervisor on the show was Somen Das, my very good colleague and a very good friend, and guided by, of course, the creative director Harry Ingorani. We got this sequence and film to execute, and we had around 1375 shots to execute in the film, which amounted to around 1 hour 6 minutes 5 seconds to be precise, and that's what we have worked upon. And the VFX on Shershaah was mainly, it's a war-based film, so we had to add a lot of VFX in terms of the action part, adding muzzle flashes, smoke, shells, and stuff like that. But there are a couple of things which we had to take up. Maybe initially it was not a part of the VFX scope, but gradually as the shoot planning and the shoot happened, certain things changed. For example, there were mainly the shoot was going to happen in two different locations in India, namely Srinagar and Kargil. Unfortunately, the section 377 was imposed while the shoot planning was happening, and it was no longer possible to go to Srinagar and shoot the sequences. So after a lot of brainstorming within the crew and the VFX team, it was decided that they will shoot the entire film in Kargil itself. And so a task of making a lot of locations of Kargil look like Srinagar. So I'll take you through a few things on that, a few sequences or shots, and then we'll see how it goes. This was a very different kind of a scope, that a building was chosen and the location was chosen, and this was in Kargil, but was supposed to make it look like Sopor, which is the station where the captain Vikram Batra was posted first. So he just comes over here. So this under construction building was supposed to make look like a Sopor railway station. This is what we did. So that was only a few shots there, but this was the main task, that this valley, as you can see, the valley in Kargil was not having enough greens. But as everyone knows, that Srinagar is known to have lush green scenic beauty and mountains lush green with snow covered on the peaks. So those things were expected to come up, and so as you can see, the dry hills were captured, and after that in post we've added the greenery and snow covered mountain peaks like that. There are a couple of more examples. This is a beautiful shot, and as the camera was moving upwards, it was looking at a black colored mountain, but after adding the greenery and the snow, the shot really looked more beautiful, to say. And also a few places we've added village related details, adding instead of an empty plate. So it was discussed that let's add some village information, some small cottages, houses, which will make it more natural. Again, mountain peaks, some detail, some little village detail in the background to make the shot look interesting. So that was the first part, as I said. In the story, as the story progresses, there is an action sequence which required a lot of muzzle flashes, smoke enhancements, dust enhancements, and bullet hits, which we can see. that was about enhancements on the action sequence, which are like, I need not explain that because they are smoke additions, muscle slashes, which happens, but the sequence looked really interesting after the VFX was added. Coming up next is very interesting. This sequence is one of my favorites. So during the lockdowns that were happening, it was difficult for the crew to fly and shoot this entire sequence in snow on a mountain because the traveling and everything was restricted due to the pandemic. So it was decided to shoot this particular thing where this particular sequence in a studio in Mumbai, so that and later on we can extend the same in VFX. So as you can see, we've added the snowfall, extended the mountains using a few CG elements as well as digital matte painting, and made the shot look interesting, and improvised a lot on the scale of the shot. Coming up next is the Kargil base camp. So the base camp was in Kargil. However, it was not feasible to shoot this base camp and sequences in winter because there is a lot of snow and there is, the weather is very cold for everyone to go there, shoot, and all those things. There are a lot of parameters which were not falling in place if we would have shot this thing in winter. So it was shot in summer, and a lot of detail in terms of the snow and the snow basically later on in VFX. Yeah, as you can see here, uh, they have shot a lot of things already. A lot of tents were made in real, but however we had to add to the scale. As you can see, it's a drone shot. If we do not show the huge base camp, it will not give the kind of scale that was required, because a lot of troops, a lot of companies, of the small companies of Indian Army were called upon over here. So this was supposed to look pretty huge, otherwise it would not have worked for the film. So we've added a lot of tents, and the Bofors also here. The Bofors were added, and so the scale of the film was maintained, that the way this base camp was treated was supposed to look huge, otherwise it would not definitely would not have worked for the film. Again, same thing, the scale and our knowledge. Again, selling happens over this camp, and there's a lot of run around here and there, and so we had to add and enhance certain elements. We had to add the glass, add smoke, and fire elements to make it look more chaotic. Addition of smoke and fire elements was very important because the way the camp is attacked and the way it is shown in the film, it was very critical. Then, as you can see, after adding, it's giving a different kind of a scale to the film. It really looks that devastating, that everyone, the chaos, that every troop has been affected. A lot of team members, their crew members get hit, they die, and all those things also happen. So that was the base camp, and later on, after they are there in the base camp, they climb up to a mountain. Now, while climbing up, they decide to scale the mountain at night. Now, the entire troop was supposed to be shown like they're climbing the mountain in the night. So it was as we can just imagine that to shoot this in night is very difficult. Mainly logistically also it is very difficult for getting the actors climb the mountain at night. Plus there are extreme weather conditions over there. So the wind blows in the evening and it is so strong that it was not possible only for anyone to stand over there and shoot things out. So what they did that eventually it was shot in the day, converted those things to night, added the receding snow and snow-covered mountains in the background. In these extreme conditions also, a few things, if it's like I would like to say that the entire crew that is there on the shoot, like everyone helps each other. I mean, here at the extreme conditions, you can see the actors are climbing the mountain. This is an actual mountain that they have climbed. The enhancement was adding snow, adding depth in the background, adding snow-covered mountains. Yes, when the Pakistani troops they fire flares from the top, and there is a light interaction happening on this guys. And for that light interaction, the lighting team over there was so supportive that they could, in this condition, also give us a light pass, so that the light interaction that you are seeing here is live, is real, and it was definitely enhanced in VFX later. So that was the night sequence. Now we come to the climax. Couple of things before we move on to the climax. Mainly, they are given a task to destroy the two bunkers first and then the last bunker. So in order to achieve those, climb another mountain. Here, the main task was to show a lot of depth. They were already at a height and there were mountains in the background, but the director wanted to show it very scary. It has to look scary. It has to look at a particular height. Otherwise, the shot will not look as convincing and believable as they were supposed to be. So we've added a lot of depth in the background. Of course, covered mountains. As the sequence progresses, there are a few CG knife addition shots because this is a close hand-to-hand combat, and it was very difficult to shoot it with a dummy knife, or a real knife was out of question because, like, the actor Siddharth Malhotra takes up upon many soldiers at the same point of time in a few seconds. So yeah, we've added. As you can see, a lot of depth was added later on. Yeah, the live FX team managed to pull out a very good blast. However, the director suggested that the impact of the blast should be even more than what we have received or what we've shot. So, we added a lot of elements to make the shot look even better. In a way, the scale of the blast was supposed to look even bigger than what it was shot. So later on, yeah, a lot of elements to make this happen. As you can clearly see here that we've added depth to, if this is looking scary after replacing the background. I mean, it really worked for the film, and this was climax, a very crucial moment in the film. Adding blood spurts and everything also in post. So yes, that brings us to the end of the presentation. Yeah, that was Shershaah for you.
Hello, Ronak, Poonam this side. So,
Hi.
yeah, I wanted to know like how long it was in the post production for the entire VFX.
It actually, work-wise, it was around like 4 months of work, and it got a little extended due to pandemic lockdowns. As you already know, remote working conditions, work from home structure environment. It got a little extended, but production-wise, it was around 4 months.
If you could share any challenges that you faced during the entire process.
Yes, the challenge is already spoken, but yes, I would rather bring out another challenge while working on this project was the pandemic itself. Due to lockdowns, it was very difficult. All the VFX houses faced the same issue, and so how to continue working, and all the studios worked out their own structure of working, arranging for all their employees and artists to work from home. So that point of time, our R&D team and the IT team invested their efforts. And while they were kind of putting in their efforts to crack the entire pipeline out, we were wondering as to how are we going to move ahead. So in that case, and on those few days were very critical, and they're very stressful, as we never knew like how are we going to progress on this particular show. And there were other two shows also which we delivered during the pandemic, which I can talk about in a way. But Shershaah also was one of them. But after the lockdowns were cleared, we again get on the studio, and then we started working. We called only like critical team members who were required in the office, and the rest of them still kept on working through their uh, own home environments. But yeah, and the entire review process, the functions, everything, so that was a learning curve, and everyone knows that everyone had gone through all this, and yeah, eventually we delivered the project.
Yeah, so there's another question, Poonam. Anil Vanwari here.
Yes, yes, sir.
Does the
Yes.
chief creative director composite any shots himself first for the team to follow as look and feel? Since most of your shots are snow peak and set extension enhancements with digital matte paint added, etc., with DMPs added.
Yes. Hi Anil sir.
Hi.
To connect with you. If we talk about our chief creative director, the chief creative director is definitely there to guide us all the VFX supervisor back in the studio, and he always roots things. We definitely work on a lot of concepts, so that once the entire concept work is approved within the studio, it is shared with the director. And then we get the director's feedback. So yeah, there is entire review process internally integrated, so that whatever goes out or whatever first it happens on the show, people are aware about. I mean, the director is also aware about, and the creative director at Red Chillies is aware about. So yeah, our creative director Harry, you all know about him. So he definitely goes through everything in detail. As once he approves it, it goes out to the director.
Okay, and how do you build a requirement for a project? How do you build in place the kind of teams you'll need? What is the process you follow?
Process is simple. We have the structure of mandates. So once we figure out the mandates, we split the entire project into different departments as to what are the tasks. So once we get the kind of work we have on each particular department, we calculate as to how long and how many artists are required in a particular department, depending upon the resources available, of course. And then we split the entire thing into on the floor. See, I mean, we normally keep working on multiple projects at the same point of time. So we, based on the requirement and the timeline of the project, we dedicate accordingly. We dedicate resources to that particular project.
So on Shershaah, how many did you have for the all the shots?
You're talking about the number of artists?
Yeah.
Number of artists must be around 55 or more.
Okay. All right. Throughout the project, the 4 months.
It is not actually throughout the project. So what happens is that things progress. Certain things are linear. So once, if suppose 10 artists are working at this point of time on a particular, so they are working on a roto task, and if the compositing has not started, so everyone cannot work simultaneously.
So they work on multiple projects.
They keep working on multiple projects. The team keeps switching projects based on the deliveries. So if a task is roto dependent, so of course, once the roto is done, then only the comp team will be deployed on it. So we cannot say that X number of artists will be working throughout the show. But as I'm saying, that 55, 60 artists are working throughout. I mean, the artists keep on changing, but the strength of 60 artists will still maintain.
So how many man days would you have spent on Shershaah?
I do not have that number as of now to share with you. I'm sorry. But yeah, definitely any other question I can answer.
Okay. All right. Thanks. It was wonderful, listening to you and, learning from you what went into the making of. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, Poonam?
No, that's it from my side as well.
All right. Thank you very much.